Welcome to Dr. Joe Unplugged. This podcast contains general information and is not in any way medical advice. Are protein powders A, good, or B, bad? Now, this is a question that I've been asked, and some of you have put that question in the comments, and some have been in touch via other mechanisms, and it's a really good question. And I'm actually going to start with the answer, but please keep listening anyway. The answer is neither of the above. And no, that is not me sitting on the fence, and I'll explain why. Is a knife good or bad? Knives are very useful to cut our food if we have other things that we need to cut through, whether it's rope or whatever we're needing to cut. Very, very useful. Same with scissors. If you use a knife to stab somebody, it's quite bad. It's very bad. The knife is inert. It's how it's used. That is the key. And in actual fact, that is with pretty much everything that we have in human existence. All inert substances or inert tools are neither good nor bad. It depends how they are used. So protein powders may have a role for some people. Now, let's do the more difficult bit first. Some people, and there was a case reported, I think it was 2, it could be 3 years ago now, of a lady who had some fairly rare kidney disorder and was unable to excrete protein beyond a certain level. The nitrogen and some of the other atoms can build up in this, and molecules can build up in the system. And she was not aware of this, and it really only became a problem because she was taking large amounts of protein powders. And as usual, as a media beat up, oh, it's terrible, they're dangerous, blah, blah, blah. No, it wasn't a good idea for her. Much the same way, if you're allergic to shellfish, eating shellfish is not a good idea for you. If you're not allergic to shellfish, it's not a problem. So there's never one size fits all. Now, protein powders are popular with people who are doing training. They can also be quite popular with people on weight loss programs. And if they are not all that you're consuming, then there isn't a major problem with them. Now, some of you might be thinking, hey, Joe, haven't you spoken about the problems with highly processed and ultra-processed foods? And the answer to that is yes, I have. And that is why they certainly should not be the mainstay in any way, shape or form of an ongoing diet plan. If they are used pre-workout or post-workout, then that really is quite okay. They're not the only. It's not the only food that you're consuming. The second part where they may have a role for some people is as part of a weight loss program, because protein bars or powders, obviously made up into a shake, can fill you up and is certainly a better option than muesli bars or fruit juices, which have a lot of sugar. Again, you can have fruit juice now and again, but they do have quite a lot of sugar, whereas protein shakes don't have. The next question becomes, well, which protein powder? And obviously I'm not going to make any recommendations. It's not for me to do that. But you do need to read the labels. And there are a couple of traps, in inverted commas, one of which is the sugar content and how much sugar is in the protein powder, because particularly if you're wanting it as part of a weight loss regime, then you don't want much sugar or carbs in them. So even if they say it's got X grams of protein and that's on the label, what you need to look on the back is how many grams of sugar, and that includes all sugars, including glycerol and isotrol, and there's quite a few others. So be aware of that. So really, if it says low sugar, then again, my low and your low might be something different. So do read those labels. Also have a look at the source of the protein, and there are different forms, including some vegetable-based proteins, and some of them, I've had them myself years ago, available through different typically they're available through MLM companies. Again, not saying that's a good or a bad thing. And obviously there are a lot of whey proteins as well. Now, if you're sensitive to dairy, then that's probably not a good thing for you to have. So have a look at what the type of protein is, have a look at how much sugar is in it. And look, also, they're all going to have additives and preservatives. It's a given. It can't be otherwise. So I'm not sure there's any real mechanism by which that can be minimised. But look on the labels, see which might have a few less, maybe that is a better one. But the more critical point in all of this is they are neither good nor bad. They can be useful if taken, in inverted commas, appropriately, which means you might have one before or after your workout as part of your overall diet program. So look, if you are training and you're wanting to build up some muscle, then you should be eating other sources of protein as well. And that includes, obviously, red meat's probably the best, but you can get protein from fish and chicken. There are vegetable sources of protein for people who are that way inclined, and that should be the mainstay. In terms of weight loss, if it helps you in the morning or mid-morning or mid-afternoon to consume a protein bar or powder made up into a shake, and that fills you up and it keeps you away from the muffin or the biscuits, again, in that situation, it is quite okay. So to get back to where we started, are they good or bad? They're inert. If people choose to use them and use them in a way that is only a part of a total diet program and it is not the mainstay, then look, I'm not going to say it's the best thing that's going around, but it's okay. And I have had some protein bars, balls and shakes myself, and I don't see that it's a problem if used in that setting. If you have them 3 times a day or more and you're reliant upon them as a mainstay of what you're consuming, then that is not a good thing. So I don't like the term moderation because it also means so many different things to so many different people. But I'd say more if used judiciously, and that means really as a small part of your overall program. If that works for you, then great. But if you're not that way inclined, then it's certainly something we would not recommend to take up, but it is okay to use them. Thanks for listening to Dr. Joe Unplugged. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, and share. You can also follow it on all the socials. There'll be new content uploaded each week.